2 more state championships. Can you believe that? The Bells do it again. The girls, Dixie Bells, who have seemed like wins a championship every year, well, they have done it again. The Bells wrapped up another state championship with a 10-0 victory over AUM of Montgomery, Auburn University Montgomery League team. They beat them 6-0. The win gave Troy their first state championship in 6 years. This win was big, said Coach Max Bundy, and Max did a great job with this bunch, and they did it with a great pitching performance by Allie Rushing. Allie Rushing struck out 8 batters and allowed only 1 hit as Troy wins that ball game 10-0, and now will advance to state tournament. I mean the World Series tournament, which we'll be getting more information on that at a later date. But again, the Dixie Bells, the Troy team, has won again state championship. Some of the players on their team, of course, they're coached by Max Bundy and Brian McClendon and Scott Reeder. The players include Dakota Berry, Emily Bryan, Morgan Bundy, Mackenzie Kane, Stella McElbreath, Avery Henderson, Emily Hughes, Heather Maxwell, Lexi McClendon, Anna Price, Allie Russian, and Emily Williamson. Congratulations to that team as they win a huge state tournament in the, I want to say this to the 14 and under girls from Troy, so congratulations to them. And we'll be talking more about them, I'm sure, and we might even bring them on our show sometimes soon. Also, another state championship was won by the 6-year-olds. Can you believe it? 6 and under. It took 2 games, but Troy's 6 and under all-star team took home a state championship on Monday morning after they knocked off Southeastern of Montgomery in 2 straight games in a tournament played in Enterprise. After falling in Game 1 of the best of 2 out of 3 series yesterday, Troy bounced back to win the game, Game 2, 17-7. And hear this: they won the Game 3, 29-28 in extra innings to give Troy their first ever 6 and under state championship. They're coached by David Ross, and he had a lot of great things to say about his team. And here they are, ladies and gentlemen, 6 and under, coached by Scott Ross, Michael Precise. Already Michael Precise has got a son on a state championship team, and they're 6 and under. Michael, of course, was an outstanding player at Troy, and is my banker at Troy Bank and Trust Company. But here are these names here. Scott Ross is the coach, and then Michael Precise, Keith Jeffcoat, and Trey Holton. The players include Drew Blankenship, Cole Cleveland, and ladies and gentlemen, I want to mention that Cole Cleveland knocked in the winning run. Jalen Copeland, Bryce Davis, Samuel Frost, Brandon Golden, Jordan Green, Noah Holton, Tucker Jeffcoat, Parker Precise, Judson Ross, and Judson Rice and Judson Rice. One of them got to have a different name, but they win the state championship, and it was a big hit by Cole Cleveland when he knocked in his teammate Jordan Green for the victory. So that's the second state championship of the day for that team, and I don't know if they go any further than the state championship. It's amazing that they have a 6 and under state championship, and that was a huge win. How about that winning run on a 29-28 game? Wasn't that something? And also the Troy's 14 and under lost heartbreaker but came back and won a couple of them, and they'll be advancing to the state tournament in 14 and under Dixie boys, coached by Chris Henner, and they'll be playing in Enterprise this week, so for the state championship. So congratulations to them. They finished that district tournament with a 3-1 record, and the best two teams advance. Also, another Troy team came up a little short in the state tournament, but they played very well. Coach Wiley Lowry's team won the first game of the series, beating a Montgomery team 6-0, and led. Of course, Cade Edwards pitched brilliantly in that game. They end up losing 11-1 to Enterprise after they had beaten Enterprise 6-1 the game before. But it was just too much on that team, and these were 11 and 12-year-olds, and they ended up getting beat and have played very well in the state tournament, but just ran out of gas. And but congratulations to a great effort. And again, the Troy Dixie Belles, I want to say this is 14 and 15-year-old girls. They will advance to the World Series. I don't know where that's going to be played yet, but we'll be giving you more information as we get it from the Recreation Department. But again, congratulations. Of course, we've got Coach Henner's team, Chris Henner's team, still in play. He'll be going to Enterprise to play for the state championship in the 14 and under Dixie boys. So a lot more baseball and softball to come, and of course a big state tournament going on right here in Troy in softball. We'll be watching that real closely, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch them. Of course, again, a great pitching performance by Allie Russian on Monday night, as she gave up just one hit in a 10-0 victory over a team from Montgomery. So congratulations. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back. We're going to take we'll just hang in here for a second. Of course, I want to mention our good friends at Pike County Ford on the bypass right here in Troy. Boy, they've had some big sales all week long, record sales at Pike County Ford going on. And man, they're selling trucks and cars like you would not believe it. Drop by and see them under new ownership. Pike County Ford wants Troy and Pike County to be Ford country. Pike County Ford right here in Troy. We'll be right back.
At the Piggly Wiggly, we proudly support our local farmers and bring you the best they have to offer, all at cost plus 10%. When you shop local, you reinvest in your community. Remember, buy local, shop local. Piggly Wiggly, local since forever.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation under God, indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Here at Town & Country, we are proud to be an American.
We've had you covered on the inside since 2005, and with our addition of Southern Grill and Patio, we now have you covered on the outside. Come see our great selection, where we make sure grilling and relaxing go hand in hand.
Life is hectic enough without worrying if your lights will stay on or if there's hot water for your child's bath. So count on natural gas to keep the energy flowing, even when the weather is unpredictable. Natural gas is always there to keep your home warm, showers hot, and food cooked to perfection. That's why America has relied on safe and affordable natural gas for more than 150 years. And we will be here for you and future generations too. You can count on natural gas from Southeast Alabama Gas District.
Come see us at Don Walker Western Wear. From boots, jeans, and jackets to shirts, hats, and belts, we're your headquarters for Western wear for the entire family. With the largest selection of jeans in town, we carry famous brands like Wrangler, Levi, Carhartt, Ariat, and Cinch. We've also got plenty of styles of boots to choose from, including Justin, Lucchese, Ariat, Tony Lama, Red Wing, Dan Post, and Corral. So come on into Don Walker Western Wear, located on Highway 231 in Troy.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of us.
Back to our show, ladies and gentlemen, brought to you by Wise Office Supply right here on South Brundage Street in Troy. And, of course, Wise Office Supply for building supplies. For office supplies, and of course business forms and all types of school supplies, you can find it today. Also office furniture galore at Wise Office Supply on right here on South Brundage Street in Troy. Easy to get to. Remember, no hidden charges when you deal with Wise Office Supply. If you haven't had your insurance quoted lately, you know, you might need to. You never can tell how much money you can save. I had mine quoted not too long ago by Country Financial, and I saved a bunch of money from Country Financial on the square in downtown Troy. You know, whether it's your homeowner's insurance or your automobile or both, or your commercial insurance on your business. Stop by and let Melissa Parrish give you a quote on your insurance. You'll be surprised how much money you can save by getting quotes on your insurance. Not anything wrong with these other insurance companies. It's just, hey, some will give you a better quote on how much it costs than others. So make sure that you're getting your insurance quoted, and you can keep up with the savings that you can get by looking at other companies that quote insurance. I want to mention also our good friends at Premier Dodge Chrysler Jeep on the bypass, and they are busy. Jason and all those great guys, he moved his whole family to Troy, Alabama, and said, hey, this is where I want to be. And he comes from a huge automobile family, and he brought his Dodge Chrysler Jeep and Ram business to Troy, Alabama, and they are selling cars and trucks like you won't believe. So drop by and get a quote on a great truck. You know, there are a lot of good trucks out there, and hey, some of them you'll get a better deal on than others. So take advantage of the opportunity to go see and drive new trucks today at Premier Dodge Chrysler Jeep. I want to mention also our good friends at Bird Drugs on the square in downtown Troy, and want to say hello to Joe Watson and all my great friends behind the bar there, cooking breakfast right now at Bird Drugs. And boy, it is delicious. Remember, just charge it at Bird Drugs. Easy way to get in and out. And boy, I tell you, I love their chicken salad. And try their chicken salad with lettuce, tomato, and bacon. And whoa, it'll knock your socks off. It's really, really good. Want to mention also our good friends around the corner at B. Graves, and you know, they're a very nice place to eat. If you're looking to take your wife or your business acquaintance out for a first quality meal, B. Graves on the corner in downtown Troy is waiting for you. And of course, they have a great wine list, wonderful fillets, great seafood. It's just a first-class restaurant in downtown Troy. It's called B. Graves, and hope that you'll enjoy it. You folks here for orientation, good morning to you, and a lot of parents are here this weekend. I saw 5 buses pass me yesterday, and they were heading out to the country to what do you call them, zip lines, to ride zip lines. And of course, boy, they have a good time, all kinds of things going on. But all these freshmen get an opportunity to go out for the afternoon on Monday, which was yesterday, and had a big time riding those zip lock runs. I reckon that's what you call them. and it really is a lot of fun. I know this, that my neighbor who just moved to Troy, he took his family out there, and he said they had the time of their lives, and of course they're well organized out there and really do a good job. I want to mention Troy Bank and Trust Company, the only bank you'll ever need. It's Troy Bank and Trust Company right here in Troy, and of course there are 11 or 12 locations. How many can you call out right now, the locations of Troy Bank and Trust? How many can you call out?
You calling me?
Yeah, you. You better hurry, son. This is a test.
There's 3 in Troy, 1 in Brundage, 1 in Auburn, 1 in Dothan, 1 in New Brockton, 1 in Arrington, 1 in Enterprise, 1 in Elba, 1 in Goshen.
You're pretty good. There are 11 locations, soon to be 12. Well, it might be 12 now.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. And, of course, ladies and gentlemen, all those locations of Troy Bank and Trust Company, the only bank you'll ever need. And I tell you, they are growing by leaps and bounds, no question about it. I want to mention Road Mart today, and, man, do they have a great tire company. They're in Ozark and in Troy and in Dothan. And when it comes to tires or having work done on your automobile or having your car or truck service, Road Mart is the place you want to go. Mike Amos calling in from Birmingham. What's going on up there?
Not much. Just another day closer to the football season starting, I guess.
Can't you feel it? That's exactly
the only way you can really look at it right now.
That's the way I look at it. And of course, it feels still. Is this magazine out yet?
It should be. I've been hearing them talking about stuff like that lately on.
Well, usually it comes out.
I'll have to go and see if I can find you one.
I've really enjoyed the Street and Smith. That's the oldest of all these magazines, and they really had some good stuff, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. I think Phil Steele always comes out last, and that's usually what everybody's trying to get their hands on.
Well, his is bigger and thicker, and it's a lot more information. You know what I'm saying? He does a lot of research. I want to mention All-Star Collision on the bypass right here in Troy. They did some work for me recently, and I was very pleased. In and out in a hurry. They'll get you in and out in a hurry, and if you need an automobile or need a car to use, they'll find you a car to use while yours is being fixed. We appreciate Collision, All-Star Collision, located right in between Pike County Ford and Premier Dodge Chrysler Jeep and Ram trucks. Mike Amos is calling in from Birmingham this morning. Is it sunny or is it overcast?
It's actually pretty outside right now. Yeah. I don't know what the forecast is today. It hasn't really rained a lot lately.
Well, usually it rains frequently this time of year, but you don't know where it's going to rain. It's sort of a hit and miss type thing. Yesterday, you would have just thought for sure it was going to rain here, and it rained just a few drops. It didn't rain very much at all.
Of course, Wimbledon's going on. That's your daughter Rebecca's favorite tournament.
Well, she sure does. She keeps up with it as well as anybody. She's probably watching it right now, and I ought to give her a ring. But of course, we
didn't mention in the NBA during the break when you were off. LeBron James is now a Los Angeles Laker, so that's
how much they have to pay him.
It's going to be interesting to see who all he brings to Los Angeles to see if they can find a way to beat Golden State. But Golden State got the big guy out of Birmingham that's such a tough guy inside, that DeMarcus Cousins that played in Kentucky.
Yeah.
Now with Golden State.
You know what? I saw him play right here in Troy for that team out of Mobile. Good friend of mine coached him.
He ended up going to LaFleur.
Yeah, that's right. And a friend of mine actually coached him, but I saw him play right here in Troy, and you knew he was going to be something special.
Yeah, I mean, he's 6'11", like 280 pounds. He's a monster.
He knocks people around. How much did they have to pay for LeBron?
What was it, like $154 million for 5 years? It was
Is that what he's getting? Oh man, he's getting more than those movie stars.
Well, I think that's kind of what he wants to do. I think he wants to go out to Los Angeles and start doing films and commercials and kind of get into Hollywood a little bit.
Yeah, Mike, I'm gonna be down for the Sunbelt Conference show next week. I'm excited about that.
The media day.
Media days in New Orleans. I like a nice little trip to New
Yeah,
Orleans.
that's always tough to have to go to New Orleans for anything.
I know it, and I'm going to the Big
Even
Easy.
you've been following these kids, the soccer kids, and they got stuck in the cave.
No, now let me ask you this. Let me clear something up. It was just like anything that they were going through caves as part of some entertainment. Is that right?
Well, no, it was like some kind of like ritual. Like it was like some kind of. There was a soccer team out of Finland, not Finland, Thailand.
Yeah, Thailand.
Yeah, and they basically went in there with a coach, and then.
I mean, was it just? I mean, were they having fun? Was it a fun thing?
Yeah, it was kind of like they were on a camping trip.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, like
that. But, they've been stuck in this cave for 2 or 3 weeks because of monsoon season, and we're like 2.5 miles deep into a cave, but all 12 have been rescued now and the coach.
Oh, wonderful. And there were 2 guys from.
My wife told me about it. I didn't know anything about it, but I've been kind of fascinated with it because they didn't know if they were ever going to be able to get them out.
Well, they took 2 firemen. I think one of them was an ex-fireman from the United States that specialized in these things. Mike, this is just what I've heard. I would love for somebody to call in and explain it.
Well,
better.
Navy SEALs were the ones that got them out.
Oh, really? I thought it was a couple of specialists.
No, it was Navy SEAL divers that got them out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
From the United States, where?
What now?
From the United States, the SEALs.
No. I mean, I think they're from actually Thailand.
Yeah.
I mean, I think people from all over the world were helping out.
Well, 2 guys from America that came in. Somebody call in and give us more information about that. I know it was courageous, very courageous, and boy, would you hey, claustrophobia? Whoa, man, I would have hated to been
also having to go underwater as well.
I know exactly, and how they were.
One Navy SEAL died actually trying to save him.
Oh, he did. Did he really? Yeah. Oh, I hate that. I tell you what, it was sad. It was a courageous act. I'll tell you that on the part of some very brave people, and without those guys putting their life on the line, they would have never got them all out.
Of course, there's a lot of issues with the coach, leading that team into the caves. They've already said that he might, actually maybe face some legal actions when he gets out. So I don't know how all that will work. Parents and everything were camped out for days and days.
Well, I would have hated that.
If their kids were, going to make it or not.
I know. Wouldn't you hate to get a phone call and said, "Hey, your soccer team for some reason went down a cave, and now they're stuck, and we can't get them out." Oh, how would you feel if that was one of your children?
Alabama kicked off a 4-star linebacker yesterday. His name is Mandarius Cowan.
Do you know? All right, give us
He was running 3rd string at Alabama. He's from Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. But he is no longer on the team. He got in a bar fight. He punched a 26-year-old Jesse Ray in the face. And apparently,
why do that? You can't do that.
This guy had to receive several stitches, a broken tooth, nerve damage. So these football players,
when a football player that's trained like they are, it's about like a black belt in karate or something like that. They're lethal. I mean, what I'm saying, they're not like everybody else. I mean, they should not be allowed to have any physical contact with anybody, because of their ability to really hurt somebody.
Yeah, I mean, apparently he had already had academic issues and had issues since he's been at Alabama. So I guess this is something that no tolerance for something like this. As soon as this happened, he was gone.
A football player going up against a regular everyday guy it should be against the law. I mean, they're trained killers. I'm being facetious here, but they're trained combats. They can hurt you.
This is definitely one of those situations where luckily this doesn't happen most of the time, but when it does, yeah, it could be really bad.
Yeah. Well, tell us about the 6'9" kid that signed with Troy in basketball.
I don't know. You need to call somebody from the Troy's basketball staff because they're not releasing a whole lot.
Well, he's 6'9".
All I got is that he transferred in from Middle Tennessee State, and he's from Columbus, Georgia.
And I'm wondering, how we got him, and will he be eligible?
That's a good question. I don't know if he's a redshirt sophomore, he might have already graduated. That's what you would hope if he could play immediately.
Yeah. I would love to talk to one of the coaches. If they would call in, or
a lot of people are talking about this year, which is really interesting. The new redshirt rule is really interesting. So a lot of national guys and even guys in the state are talking about the fact that Tua and Jalen Hurts, basically could battle it out for the first 4 games, even though everybody thinks Tua will be the starter.
Yeah, and one of them could redshirt.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's a situation where Jalen Hurts could, maybe play in those first 4 games, and if he realizes he's going to be, beat out by Tua, basically he could redshirt, and then he graduates. And
go anywhere he wants to.
He graduates after Christmas, and then he'll have 2 years to play anywhere he wants to.
I mean, he could go to Michigan and turn their program around. He could go to Southern Cal and turn their program around. He could go to Auburn and turn their program around.
Turn Auburn's program around. Auburn beat Alabama last year.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, you're right. But wouldn't he love to play it at Auburn if he got messed up?
I think he would be a good fit in Gus Malzahn's offense. I do believe that.
Yeah.
I mean, if Nick Marshall could lead him to the national championship game, I guarantee you Jalen Hurts could.
Yeah. And I'm sure Hurts.
That's a great rule. Those 4 games. A lot of guys now. I mean, that's a lot of meaningful playing time for these guys, and then they can be redshirted. I mean, any guy at Troy coming out this year can play in some mop-up duty in some games and get some experience, and still have 4 years to play.
Explain that to them a little bit better, Mike.
Well, I mean, it's simple. You get 4. You can play up to 4 games and still be redshirted.
Yeah. And that also means that if you were playing in your 4th game and you tore a knee up, you could be redshirted.
But it doesn't matter what games you play in. You can play.
How about like if you played in the 1st, the 4th, the 5th, and the 7th?
I mean, designated mop-up games like for Alabama, you can play their non-conference games that are usually a joke.
Yeah. Now, a lot of people are talking about this backup quarterback at Auburn, Mike, that is really, really good. The kid out of Jacksonville. I reckon they went to Bowles.
Their backup is supposed to be the phenom kid out of Georgia named Gatewood.
Oh, Gatewood. I thought he was out of Florida.
No, he's Mac Jones is out of Bowles for Alabama.
Yeah, for Alabama. Now, tell us about this kid out of Georgia.
Oh, yeah, I mean, they compare him to Cam Newton. So I mean,
was he a 5-star or what?
Yeah, he was a 5-star.
Man, how did Auburn get him?
I mean, Auburn can recruit.
They can, can't they? They can. Auburn can recruit.
Rodney Gardner's one of the greatest recruiters of all time.
Should we be real concerned about Auburn turning this thing around?
Well, I mean, they won the SEC.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Amos reported today on Today in L.A. which went out across the world on Facebook, saying that Auburn has turned this thing around the other way, and right now, if he had to pick a winner of this year's Auburn-Alabama game, he'd pick Auburn.
I would never pick Auburn to beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa.
You wouldn't?
No.
Have you changed? Somebody told me that you actually drove over to Auburn this past week. Now, I know you're my son, so don't get really upset about this, but they know now that you went over and you met with Malzahn to see what it would take to change over.
Yeah.
Somebody told me that you wanted to change over from an Alabama fan to an Auburn fan.
I tell you what.
And you told them the reason for it, you wanted to be on the winning side. Is that right?
I do come from a big Auburn family with my mom and my twin sister Camille are Auburn grads, and 2 uncles went to Auburn. We do have a lot of Auburn in our family.
Yeah, well, and Rebecca's an Auburn fan too. Your other sister.
Yeah, that's true.
Bless your heart. You ought to be ashamed of yourself, man, doing what you did.
But it's one of those times, to times of the season, just like we mentioned with the Alabama linebacker getting kicked off the team, this is when you don't want to hear news.
Yeah.
As a college football coach, you just want to try to get to practice.
Yeah, but let me just say this. If he was real good, they wouldn't have kicked him off the team. Don't you agree?
No, that's true.
Hey, they don't kick off real good players. Of course, it's exciting times, and I was talking to some guys just this week that played on Troy High School's 1967 state champion, or what it was, 1957 All South Alabama Conference Championship. And I happened to play on one of those back in '65. But these guys were Tom Murphy, who owns Murphy Bridge, I think still is one of the owners. Also, a guy named Columbus Patman that grew up out at the Baptist Children's Home. Kerry Dozier, who owns all the land. He and his brothers he and his sister own all the land out on the bypass. He was on that team, and was a great running back and defensive back. And of course, you had the late Bill Rice was on that team. Wallace Hogan was on that team. And Bill Rice was just a junior on that team. That was so good. But they won the game, Mike, and I was a little boy. My daddy always we went to the ball games. He always took us to the ball games, and sometimes we had to leave early. But in that game, little Eugene Shaver, and I say little, he wasn't all that little, but he was a short guy. Eugene Shaver, he was Yancey Shaver's son, and he caught a punt and went 80 yards for a touchdown against Enterprise in Troy, and Troy beat Enterprise 13-7 and won the South Alabama Conference Championship.
I was going to mention Troy baseball. Coach Smart's hired a new pitching coach. Matt Hancock has been named the new pitching coach and assistant coach at Troy. He spent the last 10 seasons at the University of North Alabama. Of course, North Alabama is now making the move to the Division I as well. But we want to welcome Matt. He has his wife Emily, 2 children, to the Troy community. At UNA, they spent. Let's see, the experience at UNA with the program there, they're 308, 201, and 1. And then they were in back-to-back NCAA South Regional Tournament berths. He was also the recruiting coordinator there as well.
Recruiting coordinator. That's all you got to hear.
So that's good.
You reckon we'll be able to get some good players out of North Alabama?
Good to have him play. On the new Troy staff. Of course, Brad Phillips left and took the pitching job at South Alabama, so that was definitely a spot they had to fill.
And I tell you, great guy. We're gonna miss him, and but times change and opportunities come your way, and you got to take advantage of them. And
well, I think more than anything, money comes your way.
Yeah. I met a gentleman yesterday at orientation.
Money means a lot when it comes to moves like that. Yeah. That's a lateral move for us coaching South Alabama and Troy's baseball program.
And I would think this would be
or dead even.
Yeah, you're right. And I would think that to go leave North Alabama to come to Troy is a big opportunity for him to go to
same situation for Coach Hancock.
Troy is an established Division I program, and of course, not knocking North Alabama, they've been good for years. But they haven't been playing the kind of schedule.
Well, they've been Division II.
Yeah. Mike, I'm going to hold this for a second because I want to talk about something else, but hold this about Jack State. I want to mention something to you. I met at orientation yesterday, and I love to go to orientation because they got the best sausage and biscuits and the best ham and biscuits you'll ever find. And they have it on the 4th floor. And this gentleman was right ahead. I like to ask people where they're from, especially during orientation, because I like to know that their child is coming from this place or that place to go to school at Troy. Well, the guy that I was talking to said his son. I always ask him. I said, "Do you have a boy or a girl coming to Troy?" And he's here for orientation. And And he said it's a boy, and he asked me where he was from, and I asked him where he was from, and he said Georgia, Loganville, Georgia. And one thing led to another. I said, he turned around and he said, my son's here he's going to play baseball here. I said, oh yeah, your son is the one that's got a 0.24 ERA. His high school ERA in Atlanta now was 0.24 runs per game. What does that give it up? Maybe 1 run for the season? Is that right? How do you get a .024 ERA?
Yeah, something like that. That's amazing.
But his son, and the thing about him, and if you're watching our show today, our phone number's right in the bottom left-hand corner. We'd love to hear from you and find out how Troy recruited you and so forth. But this is a kid right out of high school, Mike. You get a kid like this for 4 years, man, you might really have something. The last great four-year guy that I can remember Troy having was the kid out of Birmingham, Mike, that was so good. Do you remember? Out of Hoover. He played at Hoover.
Oh, you talking about Ray?
Yeah, exactly. Tyler Ray. And boy,
yeah,
was he!
You're definitely right about that. He was the best by far.
Yeah, and but you take this kid though, he's got the same style and everything. He's he's got a lot of pitches. He's a Maddox type guy. He throws hard, but he doesn't throw heat. He throws. He's got a great changeup, great curveball, and a great slider. He's got 4 pitches he can throw at you. And to me, a guy that can throw the changeup good he's on top of the game. That makes that 85-mile-an-hour fastball look even faster. Don't you agree?
Yeah, that's one thing. Troy definitely is losing 2 starters that really had a big year last year. So they definitely need all the pitching they can get. Troy is really going to have a lot of holes to replace in baseball. It's going to be really interesting.
Oh yeah, he's got to go get
it. This is going to be a tough year.
Yeah.
Get anywhere close to what they did last year.
Yeah.
It's a lot of great players. You lose Sanders, you lose Lockridge. Dennison was the player of the year, and how in the world he didn't get drafted. I know that people say he was a little too old. It's ridiculous.
I think that's ridiculous too. I tell you what, anybody that can bat right at 400 in Division I baseball, I'd snatch him up in a second.
81 RBIs, too.
Yeah, I know it.
That's insane.
It's really crazy. It really is.
All time.
But he's a kid now. Listen, think about him. Hey, he'll be successful in any route he goes. He's a very smart young man. He's fixing to marry the prettiest, sweetest, sharpest girl at Troy University. Of course, she was a great softball player.
Becca Hartley.
Becca Hartley, one of my all-time favorites. And
so they're hot.
This kid's smart. I don't know. I think he's got a degree in accounting, which he'll end up doing very well, whatever he does. But man, you're right. How in the world could anybody overlook him or not sign him? Mike,
I'm kind of surprised the pitcher, Troy's ace, didn't get drafted too. I thought he was decent.
Yeah, I thought, and I did too. But let me tell you something about the guy that's his dad was not really a big guy. He probably 6 feet maybe. Said this kid's 6'5", pure freshman, 6'5", with a 0.24 ERA. I don't know how long we'll keep him, but that's pretty.
Dad, if he comes to Troy, he's got to be there for 3 years.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. You mean they can't
you
get him
can't leave till your junior year?
Yeah, I thought they could. Mike, I couldn't help but notice in the very back of these magazines that I look at, they've got the Division I AA schedules. And I'm gonna tell you now, and I'm not knocking them. They're pretty darn good, but they're pretty good in their classification. Jacksonville State and North Alabama jumps to Division I AA this year for the first time, Mike.
Jack State's joined the Atlantic Sun.
They are.
I mean, not Jack State. North Alabama's joined the Atlantic Sun Conference, which Troy used to be in.
Well, Jack State plays in this Ohio Valley, and I want you to hear some of these teams that they play. Jacksonville State opens the season on the 25th in Montgomery. So they're gonna get an added game thanks to Johnny Williams, Mike. They're gonna play North Carolina A&T. The next game they play is against Mississippi Valley. The third game they play is against Tennessee Tech. Have you seen anybody that could beat them yet? The fourth game, a much improved Austin Peay, but they're not any good. Then they play at Eastern Kentucky. That's about the only halfway decent team, maybe. Then they play Eastern Illinois, Southeast Missouri, Murray State, UT Martin, Tennessee State, and Kennesaw. The Kennesaw is the only team that beat them last year, and they haven't been playing football but 5 years in Atlanta. You know what I mean? Jack State, if they don't go on, hey, what would Troy do against a schedule like that? Would any team on that schedule even be close to Troy?
I mean, you got to think Troy's Division I, though. These are 1AA.
I know that. But what I'm saying is, all these people talking about this great Jacksonville State team.
Troy.
Oh, me, Troy would zip through that.
Jack State's won their conference 4 or 5 straight years in a row.
Jack State has won their conference championship all 4 years in the Ohio Valley without being beaten. They hadn't been beaten in their conference in 4 years.
Yeah, unfortunately, they never.
But they do have beautiful ballerinas. They do have a great marching band that's second only to Troy. They do those things well. But look at that schedule. Let's see what North Alabama's going to be doing.
Well, I will say John Grosh has done a good job, though, coming from the high school ranks to take over a 1AA program.
But one AA program that can go out and get all kinds of transfers. And you know what? They've gone out now and got the backup Clemson quarterback. Did you know that?
I thought he went to Northwestern.
No. Well.
Was this another backup Clemson quarterback?
Wait a minute. I've got all that information about these transfers. I got a bunch of stuff on transfers. I can tell you exactly who's transferred where, Mike, in this magazine.
Well, you got to realize that Jack State,
we are Jack State, Mike. We are Jack State.
Troy did the same thing for years. They got all those Auburn players.
Oh, yeah, we did it. Yeah. I mean, what I'm saying, the rules say you can do it. You're right.
Yeah, 1AA is just a different world.
Yeah, no question about it.
There's a reason when Georgia Southern made the move up their first year in 1A, while they won the league and went undefeated, they had so many transfers. Georgia Southern, took advantage of the situation moving to 1A. They had numerous, 1A transfers for when they were 1AA, and then when they made the move up to play a 1A schedule, they were dominant.
All right, you're going to enjoy some of this. Stephen Davis Jr., the son of Stephen Davis, one of the greatest running backs in Auburn history. You know what he's done? He has transferred from Auburn to South Carolina.
Well, he's from South Carolina.
I know, but he's transferred back to South Carolina. For Auburn folks needed to hear that.
I would say Stephen Davis was a better pro running back than he was a college running back. Exactly.
But I thought that was interesting to see that. And then some other transfers. Jeff George's son, Jeff George Jr., that played for Illinois, who was a household word at Illinois. His son is transferred, but it doesn't have any team there yet.
Jeff George could sling it back in the day. That guy could really throw the ball.
Oh yeah, he could. And I just thought that was interesting to know that his son was a transfer. Another guy that he got one of Troy's guys. Ismail Salim transferred from Troy to Alabama State. Are you familiar with Salim? Wasn't he real fast?
Yeah, he played at Carver.
Real fast. He transferred from Troy to, but then Troy turns around and gets a transferred Trayvon Samuel. Of course, we talked about him
from Louisville. He's gonna be a big time player.
Yeah, and he's real short though. Did you notice that? He'll
play the slot.
Yeah, and can really fly, and it's going to add another weapon to Troy's.
Who's going to get him the ball, though? That's what I want to know. Who's going to be the quarterback?
I don't know. Well, I think right now the young man out of Priceville,
Caleb Barker.
Yeah,
and then you got Sawyer Smith out of Tate High School in Pensacola.
Yeah. All right, now tell me, have you ever heard of a guy named Spencer Perry from Notre Dame?
I have not.
Spencer Perry from Notre Dame transferred to South Alabama. I don't know if he's a quarterback or how good he is, but he must be pretty good if he transferred from.
I mean, he earned a scholarship in Notre Dame. He got to be a pretty decent player.
Yeah. Of course, Georgia's quarterback, who was their quarterback until he got hurt. Man, you can't afford. Nowadays with these new rules, you can't afford to get hurt. But Jacob Eason has transferred from Georgia to Washington. Hey, how good is that?
You don't realize Jacob Eason's from Washington.
Oh. Well, that does straighten that out. That does. But he'll probably help Washington, don't you think?
Well, you heard what happened. The Georgia quarterback was in a boat accident and broke his non-throwing hand.
When was that? Recently?
Yeah, this past
Isn't that crazy what these kids go out and do and everything? All right, how about Kyle?
I mean, they're young, they're trying to have fun.
How about Kyle Davis from Auburn? You remember Kyle Davis from Auburn? He has transferred to Florida Atlantic.
He'll get to play for Kiffin. That makes sense.
Went to play for Kiffin. Jalen Williams.
Kiffin gets a lot of transfers.
Jalen Williams. Could be big in the Sun Belt. Big time 4 or 5 star guy from LSU transferred to Louisiana. That's Louisiana Lafayette. So Lafayette's gotten one. Here's one that surprised me a little bit. Trey Threet. Do you remember him at Auburn? Trey Threet.
No, I don't actually.
All right, he transferred from Auburn to Jacksonville State. That gives them a.
So he'll play right away.
Big time player, out of there. But these are some of the transfers. But I was still looking for the young man out of Clemson. All right.
The backup for Clemson went to Northwestern. We've already talked about that.
All right. The other backup, Jake Faramagen, transferred from Clemson to Baylor. And then C.J. Fuller, I think he's a running back. He transferred from Clemson. It doesn't say which team he was going to. But I thought that was interesting. And I was still trying to find and the quarterback from Clemson went to where?
Northwestern.
All right, I don't know why I had him going somewhere else. That might be.
Well, no, I mean this happened probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago. I guess it just depends on when this magazine went to print.
Yeah, you're right. A lot of that had to do with that. But these are some transfers that were eligible, and Alabama had a kid named Mickey Brown. Are you familiar with him?
He's Mekhi Brown. He's the one that tried to came to the sideline in the national championship game and got into it with the coach.
Oh, okay. You know where he's going to be playing? He's going to be playing at Tennessee State.
Tennessee State, yeah.
But he'll probably be in the pros after a year, don't you think?
I don't know if he's that kind of a player. He was just playing special teams at Alabama.
Yeah. All right, now here we are, Mike. Listen to this. Zerrick Cooper from Clemson transferred from Clemson to Jacksonville State.
He's a quarterback?
Yeah, Zerrick Cooper. He was one of the backups at Clemson, and he was pretty darn good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he'll start.
So he goes to Jacksonville State. Well, Jacksonville State already had a pretty good player. So, again, those rules, he can play right away then. Is that right?
I mean, Jacksonville State's got a 25,000-seat stadium in 1AA. I mean, they've got great facilities. And,
I know it.
I mean,
got pretty girls, got plenty
of. It's not like a nice.
Hey, they got 30 of the prettiest girls around in those ballerinas, man.
The dancing Southerners.
Those dancing Southerners. That's how. Hey, when I would recruit, that's what I'd do. I'd throw out all the cheerleaders and the.
I mean, they got the Bama Bells at Alabama, and they got the Tigerettes at Auburn.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just they've had that for years.
I will say this, and other people do know that, but that's the thing that Wes Allen's got going for him, Mike. You know, Wes Allen is running for the running for the state legislature, and his wife, Kay, who's one of the sweetest ladies I know in this town, was the head ballerina at the University of Alabama.
I mean, is that same as a majorette?
Yeah, majorette. But what I'm saying, hey, wouldn't you like to have her out recruiting for you? Or, excuse me, her out soliciting votes for her husband. Sweet girl, beautiful girl.
When is that election coming up again?
I want to say, when is that election?
Is that the 17th?
It's pretty soon. We've got, coming up on our show this week, we've got, you folks from Elba get a kick out of this, Troy King, who is running for Attorney General here in the state of Alabama as a Republican, will be on our show on the 11th. So that'll be, I think that'll be on Thursday. So we look forward to having him.
Wasn't Troy King already Attorney General, or was he Lieutenant Governor? What was he before?
I want to say, gosh, Mike, you got me there. I want to say
he already held a pretty big office. I can't remember what it was.
Maybe he's running for Lieutenant Governor. Is that right?
He's running for Attorney General.
Oh, Attorney General then. Troy King was originally from Elba, Alabama.
He's a Troy grad, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly. But it's been some real good, and everybody says right now, and people don't realize this, they don't think about this like it just reminded me. Do you know who beat Auburn in the bowl game?
Central Florida.
Yeah, well, you're quick. But you know, a lot of people would have a hard time remembering that.
What are you talking about? Everybody in the country talks about it because that's why they're claiming a national championship, because they beat Auburn.
I know it.
Auburn beat Alabama.
Exactly, and they went undefeated.
You know, Central Florida got rings, national championship rings. They had a parade.
Yeah, they deserve that. You know, hey, all right, listen to this. When Auburn went 11-0,
so Troy goes undefeated in a Sun Belt schedule, and they beat Nebraska this year, and they beat Boise.
They deserve a ring.
They claimed a national championship. You would think that they should be able to claim a national championship.
Yeah. But they could. You know, all it would take would be just one organization that would have a.
There was no organization that gave them a national championship. They just gave it themselves.
I know it, but what I'm saying.
And don't get me wrong. I know Alabama fans. I mean, our people that are not Alabama fans claim Alabama's claimed about 4 national championships they don't deserve.
That's right. Well,
I mean, this has happened a lot over the years.
Well, what it did, it used to be you'd have 3 or 4 different.
Yeah, you'd have UPI, you'd have AP, you'd have. I mean, shoot, USA Today. I mean, there's all kinds.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Exactly right. Mike, but there is a bunch of talk.
When Auburn went undefeated under Tuberville in 2004, they had I think the Eufaula newspaper claimed their national championship.
Well, let me just say something about Central Florida. They were led by, and I'm sure that Frost would have loved to have known if he could have taken Mackenzie Milton, his quarterback, with him to Nebraska. All Milton did last year, Mike, was pass for 4,037 yards, and then he rushed for 613. So he accumulated right at 4,700 yards and 45 touchdowns. Can you believe that?
No, he's a good quarterback. There's no doubt about it.
And he's got a team that is.
I'll say this. I mean, I don't care what Central Florida fans say. If Auburn would have mentally been ready to play, I mean, Auburn just got their heart broken by losing to Georgia in the SEC championship game. And
did you know a lot of that? Believe it or not,
they didn't have a national championship to play for. It's just hard to get up and play.
Do you know a lot of that actually tarnished Auburn's win over Alabama? If you think about it, that was a big win for Auburn over Alabama.
Auburn fans bring it up on the radio every day.
Well, you sort of forget about that Alabama. Alabama won the national championship.
Alabama won a national championship, I think, kind of hurt the luster a little bit. They're state champs.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, our good friends at First Citizens Bank of Luverne, located just off the square in downtown, or just off Main Street in downtown Luverne. My good friend William Petrie, Steve Sanders, Charlie Sankey, great people at First Citizens Bank of Luverne. We'll be right back. Need some coffee. And I want to mention also our friends today at Bird.
At the Piggly Wiggly, we proudly support our local farmers and bring you the best they have to offer, all at cost plus 10%. When you shop local, you reinvest in your community. Remember, buy local, shop local. Piggly Wiggly, local since forever.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation under God, indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Here at Town & Country, we are proud to be an American.
We've had you covered on the inside since 2005, and with our addition of Southern Grill and Patio, we now have you covered on the outside. Come see our great selection, where we make sure grilling and relaxing go hand in hand.
Life is hectic enough without worrying if your lights will stay on or if there's hot water for your child's bath. So count on natural gas to keep the energy flowing, even when the weather is unpredictable. Natural gas is always there to keep your home warm, showers hot, and food cooked to perfection. That's why America has relied on safe and affordable natural gas for more than 150 years. And we will be here for you and future generations too. You can count on natural gas from Southeast Alabama Gas District.
Come see us at Don Walker Western Wear. From boots, jeans, and jackets to shirts, hats, and belts, we're your headquarters for Western wear for the entire family. With the largest selection of jeans in town, we carry famous brands like Wrangler, Levi, Carhartt, Ariat, and Cinch. We've also got plenty of styles of boots to choose from, including Justin, Lucchese, Ariat, Tony Lama, Red Wing, Dan Post, and Corral. So come on into Don Walker Western Wear, located on Highway 231 in Troy.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of us.
Yes, sir. Back to our show, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're having a great morning on this Tuesday. I get my Thursdays and my Tuesdays messed up. On July the 10th. And as we said, the 4th of July is gone. Most of these coaching staffs are reassembling after vacation. And, of course, most of them have been working hard all summer putting everything together. But usually after the 4th is when they really start getting down to the nitty-gritty, whatever you call it, old saying goes, of college football. And, of course, you have your two sessions during the summer. You have one session that ends in a couple of days, and then I think they have a short session or a second session that also runs in the summer. But I know this, that legally all of the players that play football can be legally in school, and that part of the school is paid for by their scholarship. Years before, a lot of the summer schools were not paid for, but now the scholarships includes that second semester, and so a lot of them can come in and get acclimated, especially those that went to junior college or those that are coming in right out of high school. It really means a lot that they now can be acclimated. Before, they couldn't come in until August 1st, and they would spend all this time practicing football and then trying to get acclimated to class during that period of time would make it a lot tougher. But those changes that the NCAA made about when players can report and their scholarship pay for their school, has really been good for college football. We're looking at some conferences out there that are getting ready, and everybody's getting ready for the coming year. A lot of people think this Josh Heupel, who's the head coach at the University of Central Florida, he was a former great quarterback, and they think that this is going to be another very good team that University of Central Florida puts on the field. And you beat Auburn, you've done a pretty good job. So they're by far the number one team as far as the conference goes. It's called the American Atlantic Conference, and the other teams that other than Central Florida, you've got Cincinnati, you got South Florida, you got Tulane, you got the University of Houston, you've got Temple, SMU, Memphis, East Carolina, Tulsa, Navy, and Connecticut. That's a good conference right there for what we call mid-level. If you want to use that verbiage, mid-level type of Division I programs, and so it's by far probably the best mid-level conference in America. Of course, everybody thinks that Central Florida will win it, but you've still got several good teams that are out there, and we'll be watching that closely. Memphis on the other side of their division. They have 2 divisions, and there's 16 divisions. Troy will have 2 divisions, 5-team divisions. But Navy is a team that I did not think about that is now in a conference, and they're picked to finish 2nd in the West Division. Houston, who perhaps has the best football player in America, playing defensive lineman, is number 3 in that division. Then comes SMU with a new coach. Then Tulane. Then Tulsa is last in that division. Then of course Central Florida, South Florida. Of course South Florida is coached by a guy that needs no introduction, and he had coached or actually had coached at Florida before, and now he's at South Florida. You get Central Florida, South Florida sort of mixed up, but they're both good programs, and you come out and have a coach like Charlie Strong, who took his team to a 10-2 record last year after being at a bigger school. You watch his programs; they're going to be very good, and so remember that team right there, University of South Florida, is going to be it's going to make some noise in that conference this year. Of course, after that is Temple. They've got a real good quarterback coming back. Cincinnati, Connecticut, and East Carolina. Pretty solid conference for mid-level teams, and but again, the teams to watch are definitely South Florida and Central Florida, and also I reckon if you wanted to pick another team to win that conference, you would have to go with Memphis, who is supposed to have a real good team this year. So we'll be watching that closely, and they think it's going to be Central Florida, and most of those teams in that conference will be battling for the 2nd place there, and of course bowl opportunities and so forth. But again, that's going to be a fun conference to watch. And of course, looking at Clemson, a lot of people think Clemson's going to win the national championship, and they're led by what a lot of people think is got the best defensive line in the country. Can you believe that, over Alabama? So what's up front counts. Well, that is what people are talking about with Clemson, is that they'll just knock you off the ball, and you won't worry about who their running backs are, because the line's going to just knock you off the ball on offense and defense, and they're going to hold their own. Of course, the quarterback again is going to be interesting to watch. Is who will be the quarterback at Clemson? And then of course Florida State is they got to come up with a quarterback, and hopefully, I'm sure for them that their quarterback comes back after injuries. But again, it's defense that everybody talks about when they talk about Clemson, and they're picked to win that conference again. So we'll watch that. And of course, they also picked by this magazine to win the national championship. Of course, there's a quarterback battle at Florida State with James Blackman, who took over for last year's quarterback. And let's see who they got. They got DeAndre Francos. This is a French word, but he is the backup to James Blackman. So they've got two real good quarterbacks, and they've got a battle going on at Florida State on who's going to be the quarterback. Cam Akers is that great running back that's coming back for Florida State. So a lot of people think that Florida State will be very good, coached by Willie Taggart. And Willie Taggart's been everywhere he's been, he's won. So we'll be watching the Florida State very closely. But it looks like to me it's going to come down between Florida State and Clemson in that conference. And a lot of people like North Carolina State, believe it or not, and they like their quarterback at Florida, which is surprising to me that the number one quarterback in the ACC is Ryan Finley, the senior from North Carolina State, was the first team all-conference quarterback preseason. And so with Akers also be one of the running backs against, and then A.J. Dillard was also a running back. Of course, Akers, a lot of people think will be a Heisman candidate, and so with those two quarterbacks coming back at Florida State, and then this running back coming back, they could be Florida State could be trouble for Clemson. But again, is it defense that always wins, and that's what you got to look at with Clemson. Just tell you how good they are up front on offense and defense. The first team all-conference linemen, the tackles are Parker Braun and Mitch Hyatt. Those are two Clemson players that are first team all ACC in the offensive line. On the defensive side of the line, listen to this. Claylan Farrell is a junior, defensive lineman, is all-conference. Christian Wilkins, the senior, is all-conference. Dexter Lawrence, the junior, is all-conference. And Austin Bryant, the senior, is all-conference. Clemson, this is something you won't see anywhere. The four all-conference defensive linemen in the ACC, all of them are play for Clemson. So all four of Clemson's front defensive linemen made first team all ACC. Their linebacker, Joseph, is all ACC preseason. So that'll just go to show you that 6 out of the 11 players, yeah, that's right. 5 out of the first 11 in the ACC are actually from Clemson. So that'll give you an idea of how Clemson will be up front. Now, the key now for Clemson is how well will their quarterback be, and will Kelly Bryant be the quarterback, or will it be some other players? Their top NFL prospect is this Christian Wilkins. He's 6'4" and weighs 300 pounds, and they say he cannot be blocked. Now, that's saying a lot, but they say he cannot be blocked. That's how good he is. And so Clemson's going to be loaded again. And the sleeper in this conference will be North Carolina State. Mike, is this you?
Yeah.
Mike Amos calling back from Birmingham. I'm going over the Atlantic Coast Conference, Mike, and everything I pick up has Florida State and Clemson, and of course Clemson's. Listen to this: the top 4 offensive linemen in the Sun Belt, when they did their preseason picks, the 4 defensive linemen all play at Clemson. Have you ever seen that?
All those guys are supposed to be first or second round.
I know it. Have you ever seen that, though? The 4 first-string defensive linemen, all of them played at Clemson.
Yeah. I tell you what, man, that's crazy that Dabo convinced them to come back. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how you pass up money like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can risk injury. I mean, I don't know if they've got insurance policies through Lloyd's of London or what.
I bet they do. You know, and everybody's talking about North Carolina State, and their coach, Doran, is a good coach, and he's a little different than a lot of coaches. And he's got a quarterback named Finley that is the number one quarterback in the conference preseason. So,
yeah, he's a transfer from Boise State.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
So I'll tell you something there that Ripken beat out a really good quarterback. So that's who Troy will play, of course, again for the second straight year.
Well, watch them closely, and you know they're going to be good, no question about it. And Florida State looks like they're loaded again too, Mike.
Yeah.
And Miami's supposed to be good, but what do you think? You know, Miami's supposed to be good again too, and very well coached. And their quarterback is named Malik Rozier, or whatever how you pronounce it. He's their starting quarterback.
Francois is back from Florida State.
Yeah, Francois, but he's not the starter though. Right now they've got Blackman as the starter, the guy that replaced him.
They should. Francois is better than Blackman. Blackman barely got him to 500 last year.
Well, and always
he's 6'6", about 160 pounds. You
oh,
remember
really?
how skinny he was?
Yeah, I remember that. Of course, Miami. You know, hey, they had a pretty good year last year, and they're going to be good, but I don't think they can stand up there with Florida State and Clemson.
Miami opens the season with LSU, so that'll be a big factor for both teams. You know, who wins that game?
Yeah. Georgia Tech continues to go with Paul Johnson as the head coach, and his quarterback is Taquan Marshall, and of course, he is your option type quarterback and supposed to be good.
Yeah, that's what somebody was talking about the other day. You know, how Calvin Johnson played at Georgia Tech.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Demarius Thomas played at Georgia Tech. Some of the best wide receivers.
Well, you know, Johnson played against Troy, and
He played for Chan Gailey.
And Troy shut him down, if you remember, in that game.
Yeah, I remember.
By the way, Mike.
That game was tied going into the fourth quarter, and they gave Georgia Tech a touchdown that obviously hit the ground on fourth down. That could have been a big factor in that game.
No question about it. And that quarterback played the game of his life. Chan Gailey told me later, he said, if my quarterback doesn't play the game of his life, y'all beat us. That's what he told us.
You talking about Ball?
Yeah, Ball, yeah. You remember him?
Reggie Ball.
Boy, you got to
remember.
remember.
He was there, it seemed like, for 5 years. He was there forever.
Yeah, no question about it.
I'd like to talk to Chan about his Georgia Tech experience. You know, that was a place he was there for a while, but I think he won some. He didn't win any championships. He might have won his division a few times, but he always had good athletes.
Yeah, no question about it.
Of course, academically, you know, that school's tough to get into.
Yeah, no question. They say Georgia's tough to get into too. That their academics have gotten so strong.
Well, I've heard now, like the University of Alabama doesn't have an ACT over 23.
Oh man!
That's what somebody was telling me the other day. So I don't know if that's true or not.
Mike, I do want to mention something, and this is really, really good. Blaze Brown, Troy's cornerback, is picked the top 10 cornerbacks in the country. And there are a lot of. Think how many cornerbacks there are in the country playing college football, and he's ranked in the top 10.
Well, you know, also, you know, it's a situation where he got hurt. You know, in one of his last games of the season too, so he's coming off an injury.
That might be how we got him to stay, or he probably would have gone early, don't you think?
Yeah, maybe so.
Of course, you know, back to Troy, they right now, if this is correct, right now the number one guy is Caleb Barker, 6'1", 210 out of Priceville. The running backs will be B.J. Smith, 5'9", 198, a junior out of he's out of Stanhope Elmore. Sidney Davis is another halfback, 5'11", 219. I don't know where he's from.
Sidney Davis is a great receiver for Troy. He's made some really big catches the last 2 or 3 years.
All right, and so they got him at running back here. All right, the tackles are Kirk Kelly, 6'4", 310, and J.L. Gaston, 6'4", 295. The guards are Zach Branner, 6'5", 305, and the other guard is Tristan Crowder, 6'4", 314. Boy, we don't lack
big offensive line.
Yeah, we don't lack a size problem, and probably the best player on the field, and probably the best offensive lineman in the Sun Belt Conference, Deontay Crumrati, 6'2", 296, but boy, they say he's a great player. That he'll play in the pros. Oh.
Yeah, that's one thing you don't have to worry about with Troy. As long as they've had Matt Moore as their offensive line, of course he's offensive coordinator now as well. But they're going to have usually really good offensive lines.
Yeah.
And usually have at least 10 guys that can play, and that's the key. You know, to be able to rotate some guys in.
You're exactly right.
I mean, these numbers, you know, through Troy. I mean, I know. Last year, I think they gave up more sacks, but the year before, I think they gave up 8 the whole season.
Yeah, they really been
which is unheard of.
Been phenomenal, no question. For the first time in quite a ways, and I'm not saying that the last year's quarterback wasn't able to, Brandon Silvers wasn't able to run the ball some, but you've got 2 guys now that can really run it, and gives Troy a real threat when they drop back the pass to make a play.
Silver's credit, though, he did make some 30, 40-yard runs that were big at times.
He did. And I wish he had called his number more. I think he could have gained more if he'd called his number more.
I tell you what, I wish somebody had called him from Troy. I mean, I know he got a shot with the Saints as a free agent to like a 2-week free agent deal, and then he got, I think, another 2 weeks with Philadelphia. I assume that he didn't make a pro roster. I don't know if he'll try to be in Canada or what's going to happen with him.
Well, Chubb's
Chubb's still a free agent pick up on the Cowboys.
And his girlfriend, maybe his wife, I don't know if they're married or not, but she had a baby.
Yeah, I saw that.
And so a lot going on in his life, I know that. Defensively,
you know what, I didn't realize how tough it was every morning just to try to get 2 little babies ready for daycare.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it's one of those things in the mornings. And my wife, thank God I have her to get them ready, because for me to call in a show and trying to have a conversation with 2 little babies running beside me, it's tough.
Yeah. Okay, Hunter Reese right now is from Wetumpka, is one of the starters.
He was the player of the year for Troy last year. Came out of nowhere as a walk-on and turned out to be one of the best tackle for loss guys in the conference.
Yeah,
he
was
conference
really
last
good.
year.
The other defensive end is Jarvis Hayes, 6'4", 230.
He's the guy that they expect a lot from. He's a JUCO guy out of Slocum, I believe.
Yeah. The defensive tackle, Marcus Webb, 6'3", 252, a junior.
He's good.
And this guy here, let's see, let me see what we got here. Oh, Trevon Sanders is a nose guard, 6 foot, 310. And ladies and gentlemen, they say he is almost impossible for one man to block. That he really puts pressure on people. Trevon Sanders is the other. A.J. Smiley is. Now he's been hurt. 6'3", 216 is a junior playing middle linebacker. And then we mentioned Marcus Webb and Jarvis Hayes. We mentioned him. The other linebacker, Tron Folsom, supposed to be a real good one.
He had a really good year last year, too. He had a couple games where he was double-digit tackles.
So you got Smiley, Folsom, Hayes, Sanders, Webb, and Reese up front. And then your corners are Blaze Brown and Marcus Jones. Marcus Jones, evidently, Mike, had beat out and had won that position at corner.
Well, I mean, he was the starter last year, wasn't he?
Well, I know he ran back kick last year, but I didn't know he started.
Shoot, he had 2 interceptions against Arkansas State for touchdowns.
All right, well, he must have. He ran back 3 punts, too, did he? Or 3 kicks.
Back to 2 in one game, and then at least another one in another game. But he was starting last year. You know, the Dunlap kid out of Maplesville is a great athlete too, and I would expect him to play a lot this year.
All right, you got Cedarius Rooker. We know how good he is. He's the guy that called.
He's the one that made the tackle against LSU that you know, the start of the game that changed everything.
And then Darius Wesley, the other corner, and then the rover is Tyler Murray, 6'1", 186. But I tell you what, like you said, I don't care who they are or where they come from. We got a defensive coordinator and an offensive coordinator that'll find players. I guarantee you, they're both very good at it.
If Troy comes out, I mean, and finds a way to beat Boise in that first game, I mean, with a quarterback starting for the first time,
I know it.
That will be an incredible accomplishment. So I'm hoping that's going to be the most electrifying crowd in Troy history, hopefully, for that first game.
So.
I know, unfortunately, it'll be about 100 degrees probably.
But, you know, don't you think that'll be everybody says, well, gosh, people tell me that.
I mean, Troy played Boise last year and it was 96 degrees out there.
Yeah, but what kind of humidity, though, do you think?
I don't know. You'd have to ask your
I would think it'd be hotter here. I would think it'd be hotter here than it would be out there, but or the effects would be hotter. Now, one place out west was 106 degrees this past week. Where was that? Do you know?
I don't know. Probably somewhere.
No, I tell you where it was. San Diego. San Diego was real hot last week.
That's hard to believe that San Diego's usually got a really good climate. I mean, not too hot, not too cold.
But looking at Troy's competition, you know, to have to go to Appalachian State, who has a very good program. You know, Appalachian State opens up against Penn State, Mike. And they play Southern Miss, and they played South Alabama before us. Well, we're the last game of the season against Appalachian State, and that game could be huge, Mike.
I wish it wasn't Thanksgiving week. I would definitely try to go to that. You know, Auburn, Alabama will be in Tuscaloosa, and then I've got where my family and I would like to go to the beach on Thanksgiving. So that's gonna be interesting. I just hope that maybe both teams are really good.
Georgia Southern,
but maybe it'll be on TV.
Georgia Southern, and ladies and gentlemen, they've got players, and they just didn't have the right chemistry last year. They got a new quarterback named Shea Wirtz, 5'11", 200, and I guarantee you they're going to be running that option. Troy played them the 8th game or 9th game of the season at Georgia Southern. This would be a huge game for Troy. Their new coach is Chad Lunsford. Now, did he coach at Troy, or where did he come from?
I have no clue. I don't think he.
No, he coached at Auburn. Excuse me, he coached at Auburn. He coached at Auburn at one time, and he is a good football coach. Look, this defense coordinator is named Scott Sloan. I wonder if he's related to Steve Sloan.
Well, Jeremy Rawls still there coaching defensive backs, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so. No question about it. Coastal Carolina will be better. Their head coach, had to be off for the whole year because of medical problems.
Yeah, he was battling cancer.
And now he is back, and it just makes all the difference in the world. You know, we watched them. At least I went to that game. They've got players, no question. And
you know, when Coastal entered the Sun Belt, you know, we're in the mix. I was just like, man, do we really need to get Coastal Carolina? But then their baseball team wins the national championship.
Yeah, I know it.
And then you went up there and saw their facilities, and of course it's close to Myrtle Beach. I mean, it turned out that was a great choice as well.
They have great facilities. They have great facilities, and they've never had a losing record, so they're doing pretty well. Of course, Arkansas State.
Of course, they got Cliff Ellis as their basketball coach too. He's won a few games.
Yeah, of course, Arkansas State is the team that most people pick, along with Appalachian State. So you got Troy, Arkansas State, and Appalachian State. Thank goodness.
When you go to media day, they'll pick who they think is going to win the league.
Oh yeah, and it should be a lot of fun. Blake Anderson, what's the deal on him, Mike?
Blake Anderson?
You know, their head coach is 31-20.
Oh yeah, he's done a good job there. He came from North Carolina.
And of course, he's done a good job, and of course, he comes in behind the guy that coaches at Boise.
Yeah, Brian Hartson.
Yeah, that's probably how we ended up getting that schedule, getting them on
pretty,
schedule.
Pretty good coaches there. You got Hartson, and he followed up Malzahn. Malzahn followed up Hugh Freeze.
Yeah, and Hugh Freeze followed. Oh, you mean at Arkansas State? I got you.
Yeah, at Arkansas State.
I was looking at Boise. Boise guy went to Washington.
Yeah, Chris Peterson.
Yeah. But other teams, Louisiana Monroe's got some good people. Their quarterback's very dangerous. And then, of course, Louisiana, and I never forget them. But didn't that sort of surprise you that they fired him early like that, because he had a pretty good record?
Well, he won 9 games, 4 straight years, won the 4 straight New Orleans Bowls, but he got on some probation. You know, they had to vacate some wins, and unfortunately, he wasn't doing things the right way and paid the price.
Somebody told me that he ended up okay though. Where's he coaching?
I want to say he's back at Mississippi State.
Yeah, I believe he might be as the offensive coordinator.
I'd have to look that up.
Mike, the hottest. And nobody's really questioned this before, but there are a lot of great coaches out there. But do you know the hottest offensive coach in America? You know where he is?
Probably would be. Lincoln Riley's at Oklahoma.
No, how about right up underneath your nose? You could probably almost throw a rock and hit it. Is Sanford?
You talking about Hatcher?
You're right. Sanford's offense averaged over 500 yards a game last year.
Yeah, he's done a good job.
And Hatcher came out of Valdosta and also coached at...
he used to be the head coach of Georgia Southern, was offensive coordinator at Florida State. Hatcher...
And everybody talked about even then what a great young coach he was.
He just struggled when he went to Murray State.
But, Mike, I don't even see this kid that they got from Leeds that was the best player in the state.
He's transferred out now, too, and he's at UAB.
Oh, he's at UAB. Okay, now I know the rest of the story.
So he left Sanford and went to UAB.
Because it surprised me when Sanford got the #1 player in the state that year. South Alabama with Steve Campbell. Hey, don't count them out because he can coach.
Yeah, we'll have to go over South Alabama's schedule one day and see what we think he'll do.
I will tell you the rest of the story.
He's got 3 former Troy players coaching for him.
And one of them, hey Mike, the offensive coordinator, of course, is Kenny Edenfield, who coached here all those years. His son, KJ Edenfield, also is on their regular staff now. So now you know the rest of the story.
They also had Tommy Davis that played defensive line.
Hey, hire me, hire my son. So don't you know that had to be a motivating factor?
Actual full-time assistant?
Yeah, he's a full-time coach.
That's great.
And he's smart.
Of course, he played at Charles Henderson.
Yeah, and he'll be a great coach on down the line. And of course, Greg Stewart, we call him Haystack. That's what his nickname was at Troy. He came out of, Huntsville, Austin High School, I think, in Huntsville. And not the prettiest thing in the world, but can sure coach football, can't he?
Yeah, I tell you what, man, he's had a good career. He was at Jack State as their defensive coordinator for all those years. Of course, he was on that Jack State staff.
And he played for Troy.
Went over to Ole Miss and beat Ole Miss.
That's right. A good football coach, no question about it. South Alabama is a situation, if they can get an on-field stadium, look out. It will ignite them just like it's going to do for Alabama-Birmingham. It's going to really boost their program, don't you think?
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Harlan Bauer also used to be coaching at Troy. He's going to be on that staff at South Alabama. Greg Stewart.
All right, you said that Davis guy. Now, who are you talking about with him?
He was on the staff at Central Arkansas, but I'm not seeing. I guess he didn't make the move to South Alabama. But yeah, you're right. Katie Edenfield is graduate. Well, no, he's a graduate assistant.
Oh, he is. Well, I think they might have since then. I'm thinking this guy that told me that act like he knew what he's talking about. So, but you're right. It could be like that. I don't know.
So he's a grad assistant, is what it says.
Yeah. Of course, that's a good look at the Sun Belt Conference and the ACC, and we'll be going over some others. All right, thank you for calling here. Mike Amos calling in from Birmingham. Hope you've enjoyed our show, brought to you by Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram on the bypass right here in Troy. A good friend of mine just bought a brand new Ram truck, and he's crazy about it. And we appreciate him so very much. Again, congratulations to those two Troy teams that have won the state championship and have earned trip to the World Series, the 6 and unders, the Bales, the 15 and under girls softball team have also made it, and we're just so proud of these teams. And also Troy's 14 and under team is also won a state championship. That's Brady Barron and Nate Braston and Adrian Caldwell, Case Chirico, Brady Hunter, Jaden Jordan, Skylar Kidd, Daryl Lee, Noah Presswood, Ben Reeves, Jeffrey Warwick, and J.D. Wilson. Now these kids will go on and play in the state tournament, which will be held in Enterprise, and that will be opening ceremonies will be on Friday. The games start on Saturday, so you'll want to get down there and support that team. Hope that you've enjoyed our show today. Of course, we're going to be talking about a lot of football from here on as all these teams are getting together and getting everything set for that big August 1st date when they report, and we'll be keeping up on all of that. Hope you, again, have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow, bright and early, for Today in L.A. Thank you for my sponsors.